I mean, those guys, they just were able to craft. And I mean, it's definitely a skill, and it's an art form, I suppose. But how much would you, if I asked you to write a song about something, like write a song about, what we got here, this pair of sunglasses, would you be able to do it, or
Maybe. I think.
is it satisfying to do that?
Yeah, well, I think writing something is always satisfying. Obviously, there's different degrees of satisfaction that you can get from it, but
It's financial satisfaction, of course.
well, yeah, I don't think we're in any position to to be thinking about that. But no, yeah, sometimes I think it can be easier to write about something that you're kind of disconnected from, because then you probably don't worry about it quite so much. And sometimes if I have a very specific idea of a song, however small, sometimes I find it a lot easier to write the song because you have a specific kind of goal for what you want to achieve in the song. And sometimes I find it harder when you're trying to kind of capture more of a mood or a feeling without such a specific idea, if that makes sense.
No, I understand what you mean. Another thing is that I denoted a trace of irony in some of your lyrics.
Yeah.
From what I listened to. Yeah, just
good.
a trace.
Glad you noticed that, yeah.
No, but I mean...
I try and put a bit of, irony, humour.
But that's nice as well.
I try not to make them too serious. Well, some songs obviously are, but...
That's nice as well, because you can put feeling into it, but when you make it ironic, it's a kind of detachment. Like, particularly if there's a bit of comedy. Like, you're trying to... trying to think of an example. But, you are trying to put something quite profound in there, but you do it in maybe a jaunty song. I think that's always nice because it's quite liberating to play it, but you're still getting out whatever you want to get out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of a bit wary of making a song too serious because I don't know. Like for me, I kind of think of what sort of thing I'd like to listen to really, and sometimes if a song's really serious, then for me it can be a bit boring sometimes. I prefer like little subtle differences or a bit of humour. Not
too earnest. Is that what you mean? There?
Yeah, it depends on the song. Obviously, some songs I think being earnest is really good for them, but I often find it easier to say what I want to say in a song if I'm not being too serious about it as well.
You sort of distance yourself a little bit from it.
Yeah.
You said using humour. But you can still communicate what you want to communicate. On a brief tangent, what do you think of humour in music generally? Like, do you like Frank Zappa or anything like that?
Yeah, I like Frank Zappa, yeah. I know there's been some differences of opinion between various people around here with Frank Zappa, but I like Frank Zappa. I think is a genius musically, and a lot of his songs are funny, but I think he is trying to say something.
Oh, completely, yeah.
Kind of poignant and something that's important, but he's using humour to say it, so he doesn't come across as being kind of really up his own arse or anything. I suppose.
Well, for people who don't know Frank Zappa, I mean, just one song is a reference called "I Am the Slime."
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's brilliant when you actually know what it's about, because it's all about TV and how TV numbs your brain and how it forms your views for you, which is something I have a blog and I just go on and on about basically making the same points over and over again from different directions, but it's all coming to the same thing, which is things like TV, they form your opinions without you realising, and they give you a view of the world. And this song "I Am the Slime," it's really funny as well. It's a funny song, but it's got a very profound message.
No, I can't think of any specific examples at the moment, but there's quite a few. Do you know Uncle Remus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's got a very important message to it. But it sounds ridiculous when you first listen to the lyrics. Often when people are writing, there's lots of messages that they're kind of clouded. A lot of people do that, don't they, when they write? I mean...
Yeah, sort of veiled.
Yeah,
veiled messages.
It's very rare that people write things that are very direct. A few people do, but people use metaphor or simile and all that sort of stuff. So.
Okay. But I was going to ask you, actually, this is what I ask a lot of people, is what actually made you want to write? Not necessarily what influenced your writing, but what was actually the reason that you wanted to write? Was there anything you heard that...
I think originally when I started writing, it was more from necessity in some ways, because up until that point, I'd always played in bands, and then one of the bands I was playing in, the singer I mentioned him before, Julian, he moved down to Cornwall, and I was still in Manchester, and I didn't really want to spend a lot of time looking for another band to play with, so I thought I just wanted to play my own stuff for a while, but I didn't have many songs to play, so I basically started writing because I needed songs to be able to play live and stuff.
Well, necessity's the mother of invention, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's talk about performance, shall we? You play in a band, Patient 108.
Yep.
And you've had a lot of gigs recently. And you play solo.
We're trying to.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, is it two very distinct things, playing in a band? Because obviously you're not the lead singer in the band, you're the guitarist, and you sing backing, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you play solo. Is it easier to be at the back, or is it easier not to be the lead singer? Which one's got more pressure, playing in a band or playing solo? There's the question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose playing solo is always going to have more pressure because you're just by yourself and you're not really hiding behind other people, or if you make a mistake, then you're completely exposed. You can't kind of cover it up quite so much.
The other side of the coin, though, is that if you're in a band, you've got a kind of responsibility to your bandmates.
I find it quite natural playing guitar. In a band situation, that's how I started playing, really, kind of playing loud rock guitar and stuff.
All right, just tell us about your band, Patient 108. What kind of music is it, and how long have you been together, etc.?
We've been together for about 2 years, I guess. I first started playing with Dave Bornstein,
yeah.
About 2.5 years ago.
Who I will interview in the end.
Yeah.
We've talked about it for long enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I first started playing with Dave about 2.5 years ago. He had a show organised in Lavapiés, and he asked me to play. We'd met each other once or twice before. And then at the end, we started jamming a bit, and it sounded kind of cool, so we organised a rehearsal with a drummer, Q.
Oh, Q, right.
He was the original drummer. And he was also playing on that first gig when we kind of played together the first time with his project Made in Gibraltar. But yeah, so we organised a rehearsal, and just the three of us, no bass at that point. And it sounded kind of cool, so we continued with that. Then Javier joined about 6 months later. He moved down from Barcelona, and he was looking for a band already. So as soon as he came to Madrid, he met us, we had a rehearsal, and it worked out. So we've been playing ever since then. Obviously, we've changed drummers, because now we're playing with Woody.
I hate sort of pigeonholing, but I'm thinking just more of a reference point for people who've never heard your music. I mean, what kind of music is it? I mean, it's rock, basically, isn't it? But
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I suppose it's a very loose term. I would say it's alternative rock. I suppose the main influences would be, well, for Dave, for his songwriting, which I'm sure we'll talk about more in his interview, but
yeah,
it's more, I suppose, like Radiohead, Jeff Buckley, The Doors, I think, is influenced by them quite a lot. And then, I mean, each individual person has got different influences, so it all gets mixed up a bit. And yeah, but I'd say kind of alternative rock is a very loose kind of pigeonhole.
All right, let's get philosophical. Why do you perform? Like, again, as I've said to all the others that I've talked to, leaving aside the fact that you might be able to make a career of it, what's the motivation for performing? You can go as deep or as shallow as you want with this question.
Well, it's definitely not money.
How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel when you do it? Is it like quite cathartic, or is it relaxing? Personally, I always feel incredibly relaxed when I go on stage, and as long as I know basically what I'm playing, I get this incredible calm, and I just feel like, oh, this is such a good place to be. Like, this is the best place you can possibly be. Like, do you get anything like that? I think?
Yeah, well, the main reason I play is because I love playing, and that's why I started playing, and you know, I really enjoy performing, or even if I'm just playing at home, I enjoy that as well. Sometimes it can be kind of a release as well. I mean, I think how I'm feeling can sometimes come out in how I play. If I'm relaxed, then I generally play a bit more kind of relaxed. Sometimes